Initiating Movieboys podcast. Still loading. Tempest and Ryan are on their way. Welcome. Please enjoy the show.
Ever since the events of Avengers Endgame, Thor has been on some various wacky adventures with the Guardians of the Galaxy. When Gorr the God Butcher suddenly shows up, played by Christian Bale, who wants, you guessed it, to kill every god, I guess, Thor enlists the help of Valkyrie, Korg, and his ex-girlfriend Jane Foster, who is now imbued with the power of Thor's hammer Mjolnir, to stop him. Just thought we could start off at the top with a little plot summary there. I am Ryan, and I am here with my good friend Tempest.
Hey, how's it going?
And we're going to talk about the new Marvel movie, Thor, Love and Thunder. Figured that it would make sense if we kind of started off maybe talking about how we felt about previous Thor movies. What do you think of the previous 3 Thor movies?
Okay, we're just counting the Thor movies, not like his appearances and other stuff.
Yeah, I think it makes sense to just initially talk about the standalone. Man, there's just so much Marvel content that you really do have to take all of that into account. But yeah, I think just the 3 makes sense.
For me, I know this is going to be controversial. The third one's a Ragnarok, and then I like the first one, the second one, and then the last one we just saw is like my dead last.
I never saw the second Thor movie. I know that people seem to have really strong opinions about it.
A lot of people say that's the worst one. I think people just say it's the worst because it's like it's just kind of like a movie, if that makes sense. Like it's not really saying it.
Yeah.
It's not really saying anything. It's not really like doing anything out of the norm. It's just like, hey, we need to make a Thor sequel. Okay, here it is. That's all it is. It's not saying anything special or fun or anything. There's nothing overly unique about it.
I mean, probably the most important thing about that movie, as someone who has not seen it, it seems like that everyone was so negative about it that they completely changed the way that they wanted people to see the Thor character when they brought in Taika Waititi to direct the third one. I thought the first Thor movie was okay. Like it was a fun little fish out of water movie, but it's definitely not a Marvel movie that I go back to that much. It definitely all felt like very Shakespearean.
It was Kenneth Branagh.
Yeah, right. Kenneth Branagh, and because of that, like it all felt maybe a little too self-serious for me for what it is. There are a lot of comic fans who prefer that version because they feel like it's a little bit closer to what that character initially was. But I kind of just like Thor as a big dumb guy. I don't know. That's just kind of my preference. I feel like that those little fish out of water jokes in the first one where he's like slamming his glass on the ground and stuff. I thought that was probably the most fun stuff, and I feel like Taika Waititi channeled that really well in the third one, and I don't know, I really liked that direction for the character, and I don't know if it's my favorite Marvel movie, but it's probably one of the most rewatchable ones. I don't know how you feel.
I would agree. I would say that Ragnarok hit the perfect balance of like trying to stay true to the characters, but also just do something more with them other than stale Shakespearean line delivery. My issue with Love and Thunder was, I don't know if you noticed this, but it felt like a fucking SNL skit for most of the movie.
100%. I feel like someone told Taika Waititi, like, oh my god, the Thor Ragnarok is so funny. It's like that person that is funny and you tell them they're funny and then they decide like, oh, I'm just going to make a joke every second, and then it just honestly it kind of became insufferable to me. I don't know how you felt. I didn't outright hate it per se, but it was just, there were so many serious things that this movie tries to tackle and then immediately has to undercut it with a joke. None of it really hit as hard as they wanted it to because of that.
I laughed at one joke in this entire film.
Oh my god!
You want to guess which one it was?
Oof.
It was the one. It was the one at the very end. It was when Korg is talking about how he met a nice rock man to make a baby with at the lava pool, and it's Dwayne. That was the only thing I laughed during the entire film. Was
That's brutal.
Everyone else in the theater next to me, you know that laugh you're doing where it's like people are wheezing? It sounds like they have like an asthma attack, and they're going like, like that kind of laugh. There was a guy next to me the entire fucking movie was laughing at every single shitty joke was there, and I'm just next to him completely like stone cold silent, like just not enjoying the film whatsoever. And then when we finally get to that fucking Dwayne the Rock joke, I did like an ugly laugh, like kind of like a snort, and that was it. That was like the highlight of the movie for me. That was it.
Just the first few scenes really set the tone for how awkward a theater going experience this was. There were some laughs throughout, but yeah, they were never belly laughs. It was always kind of like a just slightly more air came out of their nose for a second. Man, and it was to the point where I wondered, because I really do love Taika Waititi and I like Jojo Rabbit a lot. What We Do in the Shadows is so funny. At the end, I actually had to check the credits and I was like, did he even write this? Like, so much of this feels like very mid-tier sitcom writing. And I like some of the general story ideas. They brought back Jane Foster, who has cancer, and in order to sort of combat her illness, she is able to wield Mjolnir, and it temporarily cures her of the cancer. I kind of liked that general idea, but it wasn't something that was really explored very much. And there's this scene where she's just really struggling and turns back into her normal self, and like then turns back into Thor and like destroys part of the sink. And it was kind of intense. And then immediately Valkyrie comes in and starts playing music on her little portable speaker and like making a joke.
Oh my God, yeah.
Immediately, just let it sit for a little bit longer. And it actually made me go back and watch parts of Thor Ragnarok, because I was like, am I insane? Is this what the humor was like in that? No, it isn't. It just really feels like they fell off.
Like, I felt like they were exploring a lot of things in this movie. So we got Gorr the God Butcher, which we have like a 5-second intro of him dying in the desert with his daughter, and then he meets the god, and then like he automatically gets the sword, and then he's like, okay, I'm gonna kill. It's like 5 minutes long. It's like, why couldn't this be a larger portion of the movie? I don't understand why they didn't set that up more. And then it cuts to like Jane Foster in like the CT scan machine or whatever with her cancer. It just keeps going, and it feels like everything is really disjointed, and it's like we need to get through as many fucking story beats as possible. Oh, the thing that really annoyed me, I remember rolling my eyes when we got to this part, was what's the city where all the god, whatever, I don't even remember the name of it. That's how much it stood out to me. But they're there with Zeus, and Zeus is like, he's never gonna reach eternity. And I'm like, what is this? Is this a metaphor? And they're like, and then it cuts to Valkyrie, and she's like, eternity is at the center of the universe, and it grants a wish to whoever gets there first. And I'm like, why are we just introducing this now? Like, should this be something? I don't know. It felt like they were trying to shove as many fucking ideas and story points into this movie as possible, and it really didn't feel like there was enough time to explore everything. Like, if they wanted to actually get through everything and flesh everything out, it probably needed to be at least another hour or an hour and a half longer to like make sure everything felt well told. But it wasn't. It was like, boom, boom, boom. We got to keep the story going, no matter what. No matter even if it's like makes it. That's why the jokes feel like they're like railroading into each other.
This is one of the shortest Marvel movies. While I will say like it could have used more time, like I don't know if I could have handled it. I was reading somewhere that you were mentioning how this Gorr the God Butcher just didn't feel fleshed out, and apparently they cut 2 or 3 full scenes. I think that one of the main scenes they cut that a lot of people were talking about was Peter Dinklage's character from Infinity War. That god,
oh,
like
yeah.
He was supposed to like kill him,
really,
but they just cut it for pacing, and I'm like, that actually sounds kind of cool.
Oh my god, I
kind of would have liked to see that. I actually liked Christian Bale, but it just felt like he was in a different movie. It seemed like he was taking it so seriously. I mean, no one else was, because they were told, and they were playing it just as if it was a comedy, which it was. But there's no point where I felt like they really gave him something threatening to do. Like, he steals children. It reminded me of like Skeletor in He-Man or something, the way that he stole the children. It was just silly. We really needed to see him do some damage. Maybe you let him kill Zeus or something. You need to see him be threatening and not just lose his first battle and then awkwardly slink away and steal some children. And then he's kind of just a plot device. His character just doesn't even really matter at all.
I don't even think that Thor killed Zeus at that point, because it shows in the end credit scene that he's fine, and he's like telling Hercules to go kill him. I thought he died.
I thought he did too. That actually was kind of shocking. I was like, oh damn, that's actually kind of cool. But of course, with most Marvel things, okay, is this person really dead? I don't know. They could just bring any of these characters back at any point, and that kind of takes away from it a little bit for me.
No sense of giving a shit. Like stakes.
Nothing seems permanent. If fucking Robert Downey Jr. wanted to come back, he would be back. Like, you cannot tell me that, cause he has said that, like, no, I'm not going to do it. If he wanted to, he would be right there, and they would have the dump truck filled with money pulling up to his mansion. You know what I mean? Like, the biggest disappointment with this is that it just feels so inconsequential. And man, and I will say some positive things at some point. It really is one of the weaker Marvel movies, just period, for me. I don't know how you feel.
When I got out of the theater, I was talking with my partner, and he's like, "So what do you think?" And I was like, "I'd rather watch Morbius again."
Oh no.
I feel like there's something with Morbius where you can just like at least make fun of it with people. But this movie is just Thor is like it's like a fever dream. It's like someone's first draft. It's a whole bunch of rejected SNL skits. It's disjointed. It's not fun for me. Like I was just kind of like sitting there and it's like, oh, okay, well, Ryan wanted to talk about this movie, so I guess I have to finish it and not leave.
It feels like we have reached peak Marvel fatigue. This movie is kind of all of the critiques people have about Marvel stuff. They turned it all up to 11. There's just so many jokes that are just really half-baked or kind of lame that undercut every serious moment. There's fight scenes that just look like really lame, and that was another thing that I was disappointed about. There were some fun fight scenes in Thor Ragnarok, and I watched like a little behind the scenes thing with Taika Waititi and Tessa Thompson, and they were talking about some of the special effects and stuff in the movie. And Taika was talking about how like they basically did no wire work on this movie, but they did a lot on Ragnarok. And I was thinking like that actually makes a lot of sense. A lot of this action is just so floaty, and it looks like just kind of has that like corny video game cutscene look to it.
It's like Star Wars Attack of the Clones.
100%. And honestly, I don't know if it looked drastically better than that, at least for me. From what I've read, they used the same technology, and I can't explain it like perfectly, but they used the same tech that they used on The Mandalorian, where the VFX artists essentially are creating these environments in advance, and they're able to see them in camera with this new tech. And I feel like it was utilized really well in that show, and that show looks pretty good. And this, I feel like this was just really rough. It was honestly one of the weaker looking Marvel movies in a while too. And also their costumes too were just like so,
oh my god,
they were
so fucking ugly.
like
They're
Spirit,
ugly.
it was like Spirit Halloween costumes.
Yes.
I don't understand. It was just like what happened. It's like this. There were points like, do you know the company, The Asylum? Have you the movie company?
I don't know them.
Basically, they make like they don't really exist anymore because video stores don't exist anymore. But they were this company that would just make the worst knockoff versions of whatever blockbuster movie was coming out. So they'd have like Transmorphers come out like right as Transformers came out, and like straight up though, this movie, like some of the elements of it could absolutely be like, especially the production design elements, like the costumes and stuff, could be something from like a cheap knockoff movie. How did Thor Ragnarok come out in 2017 and like look better than this? And I know that there is a lot to be said about how a lot of the VFX artists at Marvel are overworked, not paid enough.
Oh
like,
yeah,
I get that.
Yeah.
But I'm not insulting them, for the record. I'm insulting Disney, and
Disney signed off on the work.
yes, it's their fault. I'm not blaming the VFX artists, and I never will, because I know that they very rarely have enough time to do this stuff. I do think it is important to say that.
Not even just the costumes, but all of the color choices in the film. It seemed like everything was a costume. Nothing felt lived in.
It was like, and I think it's the same thing with the humor. People really loved the change from the first two movies, that it became like more humorous. And it's like Taika Waititi took that, and Marvel took all the elements that people said they liked, and they were like, you like this? Let's just ruin it, and we're going to give you too much of it. Oh, you like this cake? How about you eat 10 of them in one sitting? It's too much. Ragnarok was kind of colorful and like weird and fun looking at points, but it wasn't like every shot was just this rainbow vomit mess.
Someone was in a board meeting and they're like, okay, they really liked Ragnarok, so if less is more, just think about how much more would be.
That conversation happened somewhere. Taika Waititi said this, he considers this a romantic comedy.
What?
I know. I feel like the relationship between them, I never really rooted for it. Romantic comedy isn't my favorite genre, but like if you watch a good one, you want it to have this sort of fun, dramatic tension that's like a will they, won't they. You know they're going to end up together, but you still want there to be some tension. With this, immediately it was, they're going to get together. There's no tension behind that at all. And that was just so boring.
Do you want to know something? Technically, this cannot be considered a romantic comedy, because one of the main rules of the romance genre or romantic comedies is that the hero and the heroine, or the couple, they have to be together by the end of the story. And she dies. So it's not. At worst, it can be considered. No, that's the fundamental rule.
Yeah.
Of like, especially when it comes to romance books, like you can have anything happen in the book. Like they can break up, they can get in fights, whatever the fuck. At the end of the story, they need to be together, and it needs to be and happily ever after. That's the rules. I've even seen people talk about this, how they get really upset when there'll be authors that'll be like, yeah, it's a romance book, and then like they don't follow kind of like the canonized tropes properly.
Yeah.
For what is considered to be a romance. Yeah, you consider it. It can be a tragedy. Like that's what Romeo and Juliet is. Like they both fucking kill themselves at the end of the book or the play. That no one's gonna be like, yeah, it's a romance. No, it's not. It's not in the category of what a romance is. So I don't understand why he thinks this is a romantic comedy just because someone has a love interest and there's a bunch of shitty jokes. I don't fucking... Okay, whatever. So this is something I was thinking about, and I don't know if this is going to be, like, a fully fleshed out opinion. So, like, if I'm, like, completely wrong or off base, like, I would welcome to hear, like, a counter argument. In the first 2 Thor movies, when there's the Thor is shirtless scenes, in the first one, it's because he's getting, like, changed and he's, like, putting on a shirt, and he's doing it in front of other people. So he's doing it in front of, like, Jane, Stellan Skarsgård's character, and then... Kat Denning's character. So he's like putting a t-shirt on in front of them. So he's making a choice in that scene to be like, yeah, I'm taking off my shirt and it's in front of people. So it's not like weird, like as the audience, because it's like other people are also viewing it. The second one, he's like taking a sponge bath, which I don't know why the fuck they wrote that in the script. The second movie, he's taking a sponge bath and he's like, I don't know, got pants on and he's like sponging his chest, and I guess it's supposed to show that it's supposed to be kind of more of like an intimate scene, like he's like thinking about things. It shows him like later on in the scene, he's like he walks off into like a balcony, he's like looking off in the distance, so it's like you're feeling like it's kind of like a more intimate scene. Third movie, Ragnarok, the shirtless scene, it's like him after the battle and he's naked and then there's a bunch of servants or whatever the fuck like bathing him, which kind of feels weird because it's kind of like it's almost like an invasion of privacy. I'm building to something. And then we get to this one where he's like in the Colosseum in front of fucking everyone. And then Zeus, like, they make the joke about like, oh, I flicked too hard. And like, I flicked your clothes off. I feel like people are going to get like tetchy for me saying this, but like, it's kind of sexual assault in a way.
No, I don't think you're totally wrong. I also felt a little weird about it.
They wouldn't have done that with Jane's character. It wouldn't have been played
or Tessa Thompson's
as a joke
character, like Valkyrie. Like if it was with either of them, that would be kind of horrifying. And it was just weird. And I guess because they show that Thor's reaction is that he's not really that bothered, I guess that's supposed to make us feel okay, but it's still a little weird.
There was a really great video essay. I don't remember the name of it. I'll give it to you later and you put it like in a link in the description. But it was talking about rape scenes in movies, and they were saying how basically when it comes to men getting raped, there's like such an overabundance of like jokes about it, like, you know, like prison jokes, like don't drop the soap. And they were making an argument, I think it was a pretty good argument, saying how when you normalize making jokes and making comedy out of men getting sexually assaulted or raped, it makes it easier to dismiss and to treat other forms of sexual assault and rape in like film and media and stuff as not serious.
Yeah.
Which I thought was fascinating. And I know some people are gonna be like, oh, it's just a joke, man. I'm like, yeah, that's clearly what they intended it to be, but I don't know. I don't think it really... It just makes me feel weird because it's like he's having his clothes ripped off and we're supposed to laugh at it. I will say the fucking shitty-ass back tattoos, that was what I laughed at. But I didn't need his clothes to be ripped off in a Coliseum in front of a whole bunch of people to laugh at that. Like, did you get a good look at those tattoos?
Yeah, I'm forgetting what the joke was, but I remember thinking it was funny. I don't remember what it was.
It was like Loki's helmet. And it was like a broken heart. And it was like, brother, rest in peace. And
Right.
These were the shittiest tattoos I've ever seen in a fucking film. Like, it looks like Thor was like, all right, I'm going to go to Michigan in some guy's kitchen and I'm going to sit down for an hour and he's going to do a back piece. Like, it was just really bad. And obviously, I think it's supposed to meant to be bad as a joke. But like, oh my God, it was very fucking ugly.
Yeah, no, I'm in complete agreement. I actually I made a similar comment to someone after seeing the movie, and like in all seriousness, just saying like, could you imagine if that was Jane Foster or Valkyrie or something that happened to? I feel like that would not be received in the same way.
Maybe it could have if like they had the same attitude, because he like Zeus like does the thing where he's like, flick, your clothes are gone, And then Thor's like, you flick too hard, damn it. And it's supposed to be funny, but like even he seems upset by it. I don't understand the point of like, we need to see Chris Hemsworth shirtless in every single fucking movie. Like, it's fine. Like, he doesn't need to be shirtless in every film, or at least have it make sense. Like, have his armor be falling apart in battle. You know what I mean? Like, in the first Spider-Man movie where like the Spider-Man mask is like all ripped up because he's fighting Green Goblin. Like, something like that. Like, make it make sense, not just like, here's the eye candy portion of the movie. Got to take your shirt off, buddy.
Yeah, it seems really forced at this point. It's just one of many other irritating things in this movie.
Oh, we have yet to talk about the best characters in the whole fucking film. Those fucking goats. They should have got more screen time.
I will say the goats were kind of, it was one of those jokes that was, at first I wasn't sure.
I thought they were overused. I was being sarcastic, but if you like them, then that's fine.
No. They were absolutely overused, but I feel like I always appreciate any comedian that wants to just completely run a joke into the ground to the point where they're antagonizing the audience. Like, I kind of appreciate that on like an evil Ryan brain level. And I don't know. It wasn't really making me laugh as much as I was like, holy fuck, they are so committed to this. And I can kind of appreciate that on some weird level.
Oh, you know what really bothered me? In the land of plot holes that is this movie, they're kind of implying that the weapons have sentience. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
where Thor's like being like talking to them like they're beings and like people, and Stormbreaker, the hammer, is like moving around and seems like it's getting jealous and upset. So if we're establishing that Stormbreaker has sentience, why is Stormbreaker helping Gorr open the fucking gate to eternity? So at that point, is Gorr then like assaulting the fucking Stormhammer axe thing and then forcing it against its will to commit evil? Am I overthinking this?
I mean, that's honestly kind of how I read it. I don't know. I thought the joke didn't like outright make me laugh, but I thought it was sort of cute. Like the first time when they were like, "Oh, the hammer is jealous." It was like, "Oh, all right, that's silly." And it's just like, I feel like it's just a little joke that he came up with, and he didn't really think of the ramifications of like anything like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel like it's weird when he's like tickling it and like pouring beer on it and being like, I'll always love you. Like you're like my new weapon. And it's like, what is going on?
Thor Ragnarok was really funny, and that was something that I enjoyed about it the most. And I came in with low expectations and just wanted to laugh, and I really didn't.
I had no expectations because everyone was saying, oh, it's bad. I didn't see any spoilers. People were like, it's not good. I was like, okay, head empty, no expectations, go in and like just no. I couldn't even enjoy it then. Also, the girl who's like one of his like old compatriots, her whole thing of like, I'm gonna go to Valhalla, and then she's missing an arm, and it's like, this just seems like there's just like so many throwaway points that like, why is this included? And if it is included, why isn't it not fleshed out properly?
I honestly forgot about that completely. There were so many little things like that in
Yes.
this movie that were
Yeah.
I so throwaway, like you said.
People can feel however they want about this, especially if like you're queer and you're happy that like there's like queer acknowledgement in a movie. Like, that's fine, great, whatever. I am not happy, and I will not be happy until my demands are met. But basically, that whole scene where like Valkyrie and Korg are talking to each other, basically about like, he's like, oh, what about your girlfriend? And he's talking about how like he comes from like a race of like all male species, I guess, and then they reproduce like by holding hands under in a lava pit or whatever. That's obviously supposed to be like a very queer moment. It's a throwaway moment. It doesn't mean anything. That could be edited out of the movie and it's not part of the plot. It doesn't matter whatsoever, and I don't give a shit about it. I don't want to see that in any more movies because it doesn't mean anything to me. People are always like, well, how do you put queer relationships in a movie and have it like blah blah blah, not be like about the queer relationship? And it's like, all you need to do is have something where it was like, imagine if Jane was a guy. That's it. And then it's like a gay relationship at that point. That's all like people are looking for. We're not looking for like 20 minutes of like unedited raw anal sex scenes in movies. Like, that's not what people are asking for. They're just asking for like normal relationships to be shown in the way they have been in movies for years when it comes to heterosexual partners.
And that's always a fun game to play. Listeners at home, anytime you watch like a Disney product, just think, and they show a scene that references a gay relationship, just think, how easily could this be edited when it goes to China? With this movie, I was like, you could pretty easily cut the scene where Tessa Thompson kisses that maiden's hand, which isn't even like explicitly really anything.
That happened in this movie?
Yeah. It was like
I don't even remember it.
Yeah, because it's like literally a blink and you'll miss it moment. Tessa Thompson, I remember in an interview, said, "Oh, she's gonna get her queen. Valkyrie's gonna get her queen in this movie." And it's like, well, I'm sorry if that scene was cut too, but they didn't give you that one. I mean, I guess I feel like the representation was honestly better, and even though again it was also kind of throwaway in Doctor Strange, because at least that was like that would be a little bit harder to take out.
Yeah,
because of America's parents or whatever, if I'm remembering correctly.
Yeah, it was a bit harder to cut around. I guess it was done okay.
That was probably one of the better ones they've had, I think. But even then, it was in the background, you know.
Do I want to talk about stuff we liked?
Yes,
I feel like
yes.
We've just been bitching for the past 30 minutes.
I thought Russell Crowe was pretty entertaining, as with his dumb accent as Zeus. It was like weird alternate universe gladiator, gets a little bit older, isn't training as much. It was just, I don't know. I found that I found him to be kind of fun in that role. I mean, it was such a short scene. It honestly made me think, oh shit, is part of this movie going to be him like recruiting all these gods and they're going to be played by like fun character actors? No, it's not. This is it.
Yeah, we wish in the different timeline.
It really wasn't in much of any of the marketing for this movie at all that Russell Crowe was in it, but I enjoyed it. I enjoyed his accent was very silly, but I thought
he was trying to be Greek, right?
Yeah, I think so. It sounded like a weird Italian accent, like kind of a bad one, but I kind of thought it was fun. It fits with your whole SNL theory, but it was an SNL sketch that I was like, I kind of like this sketch. You know what I mean?
Beepity boppity boopity.
Yeah, that was Russell Crowe in the movie, like basically.
I think my favorite part of the movie was I really enjoyed when they're in like the shadow, they go to the shadow realm.
Yeah.
Yu-Gi-Oh! And all the color saps away and it's pretty much in black and white. And it's kind of, I don't know if you noticed this, but it almost had like a bit of a texture to it. Like it almost kind of looked like a little bit of like a gritty, like 300 kind of vibe. Like it wasn't just like pure black and white. It was like, there was like a filter or something put on. And then I really appreciated when they had moments of color come through, like with Mjolnir when she's holding the hammer up as like a torch, and just little moments of color. I thought that was really cool, and it was a very nice juxtaposition for the rest of the movie, which was so fucking colorful. I just wish it was. I guess it was used enough. I don't know. I really liked it. It was probably like my favorite cinematography of the entire movie because I felt like everything else was just kind of boring.
Yeah, it was like they were giving us a break, you know, like from the insane like rainbow like vomit look of the rest of the movie. But no, I agree. I felt the same way, and I thought it was pretty unique.
Is that it? Is that all I liked?
I think I sort of touched on this earlier. It's a newer arc in the comics where Jane's character gets cancer and has to sort of cope with that by like getting powers. I don't think it was really executed that well, but like generally I think that's an interesting idea. It definitely got my attention at the beginning of the movie, and although I feel like it wasn't really explored that much because, and I guess this is going to me complaining again, but I'll keep it short. I feel like when she does have her powers, it's like the cancer. I mean, it isn't there, but it's just doesn't feel like she has it. And I know that was the point of her getting the powers, is kind of like holding it off, but there just weren't enough moments of her reckoning with it, I guess. And it's such a serious thing. And it's not that I'm not saying I want this to be
the cancer movie.
No, I don't. But there are a lot of movies that deal with that subject and are still funny. Like there are so many movies, like 50-50 is a really good movie that deals with that. And again, I'm not saying that I want this to be like a darker movie. It should not be. I love Ragnarok, but I feel like they completely fucked the tone up, and that's one of the biggest things that bothered me about this movie. When they did have some plot elements that I really liked, like I think the idea for Gorr the God Butcher and Christian Bale was good, but I feel like why even bother to include this character if you're not going to give him more scenes or let him do more? Because by the end, the whole thing with his daughter, I was just in Thor connecting with his daughter, and now the next movie is going to be Thor and a little kid. Like that, honestly, made me go that made me groan in the theater. And I swear to God, if the next movie is Thor and Child, I don't think I'm gonna be reviewing the second one, or the fifth one, whatever.
The child actor who played the daughter, is actually Chris Hemsworth's daughter.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I didn't mind that too much. I thought someone pointed out, and I thought it was a very nice parallel, how like his father basically adopted the child of an enemy, and now he's doing the same. So I thought, oh, that's kind of interesting. A bit of a different circumstance, but Gorr's plan too. He's like, I want to get rid of all the gods. I think they should have shown. I know this. I said this at the beginning, but his character just really wasn't developed, and like his plan was kind of stupid. I wish they just gave him more time, because it feels like he's such a cool character to essentially be a one movie villain. Seems kind of sad.
Yeah, and to have Christian Bale, you'd think they would want to use him a little bit more. And I didn't feel that there was. I would have appreciated a little bit more of a personal stake between him and Thor. Like they're just when they fought, it was like they just really had no personal connection other than he's a bad guy who wants to do bad things. They didn't have any history whatsoever. And I know if that's not something in the comics, like I don't really care. Like I kind of just want there to be some reason for when they it'll make their fight scenes together, and it'll make moments where they are interacting a little bit more intense. Like I don't know what that would be. Like I'm not gonna like rewrite the movie here. But I just for his plan to just in his motive to be so general, like I'm just gonna kill the gods. I don't know. It really didn't. It didn't resonate with me at all.
You know how that's my hobby is like. I like redo the movie in my head, and then I always tell you like this is how I would make it better. I don't even know what I would do to fix this movie, because it feels like a mess, and I feel like I don't know, like I don't like it. It just makes like I don't want to think about it anymore. Like I didn't really enjoy this. My love for Marvel has been waning. Like I really fucking loved pretty much everything up till Endgame. I went and saw Infinity War twice in theaters. Like I really liked that movie. And in general, it just feels like overall the MCU is just very disconnected. I don't really know what the fuck they're building towards. And yeah, people are like, well, the multiverse and Kang the Conqueror, and like it doesn't feel the same. And I guess it's not supposed to feel the same as Thanos, because you don't want to like just repeat the exact same fucking story again. The excitement behind everything is kind of gone for me. Like I'm just whatever at this point. Like for me, it's kind of done in a way. Like it just feels like these are all bonus stories. Oh, I think going forward, the only thing I'm really interested in is the Blade movies, because I fucking love Blade. But I'm so scared they're just gonna fuck that up, because like I want like super rated R like gory Blade.
Oh, yeah.
If they do like fucking PG-13 Disney Blade, I'm gonna cry. Like I'm just gonna go back and watch the Wesley Snipes ones.
Oh God, we're definitely gonna get Disney Blade. It just does not have a good ring to it. I feel like I told someone the other day, I feel like at this point, I'm kind of watching these movies out of obligation. It's like my mom used to be really into like soap operas growing up. And I would ask her like, oh, what do you like about these? You enjoy these? And she's like, I don't really enjoy them. I've just been watching them since I was a kid. And I think that's,
oh my God.
I think I'm going to reach that point with these. And I think, cause it's like, I am still going to see these, and I probably will see whatever one is coming next, and maybe some would say I'm part of the problem. And I don't know. I think that you're right about a lack of villains, but I also think that in the first few phases, I feel like they had like really clear leadership, like that you had Iron Man and Captain America, and there was like an ideological divide. And I feel like there's really no leadership now, like in the crew. Like I think that they probably would have leaned on Black Panther more, but with Chadwick passing away, like what are they?
That's so fucking sad. Yeah,
it is. I don't know. That would be the clear person to let like lead the crew, but I don't know what they're gonna do now. Like Thor is just too goofy now to be put in that position, even though he would have maybe been someone that would have been considered in the past. But like it's just since he's like kind of a legacy character who's been in it from the beginning. But like I don't know what you do now. And I agree. I just feel like I thought Multiverse of Madness was I honestly do, like looking back, appreciate it more after watching this, but I still don't think it's that good. No. I think at least I don't know, at least I can say that, and I mean, who cares? But it was kind of cool to see Marvel play around with horror elements a little bit more. But with this, with Love and Thunder, it's like you really don't get anything new in the MCU. It's kind of like you get a carbon. It's like the meme of that horse drawing, like where the drawing just gets shittier. And it's like you get the good drawing, which is Ragnarok, and then you get like the shitty drawing, which is this. And it just feels like it just feels like recycled garbage to me. And I hate to say it because I didn't want to feel this way. Like I don't want to hate a movie that I go see. You know what I mean?
It's definitely. It's not even that it's like a bad movie. Okay, I really didn't like this movie, but it's kind of more like it's just disappointing in comparison to everything that came before it.
Yeah, I would agree. I don't think it's horrible. Like I would say that this is like the perfect movie to put on like Disney Plus or something.
Oh yeah,
and
for sure.
Just watch it at home. Like, and that would be my recommendation to anyone listening. If somehow you made it through this and you still want to see it, like I would say, yeah, like watch it at home and see what you think, and you probably won't hate yourself.
I just realized we never gave a spoiler warning.
Oh, we didn't. That's true. We'll make sure it's in the title or the description or something. I think.
Spoilers, everyone. There's spoilers in this.
It's better late than never, you know.
Do you have a rating or like a final thoughts for this movie?
I guess this is the first episode that we're doing of Movieboys. I said Movieboys. Movieboys. So shout out to everyone listening. I think my philosophy with ratings is usually that I hate them. I feel like I always feel differently, even like a few weeks later. But with this one, I'm gonna say 2 out of 5. How do you feel about it?
Okay, well, I'm gonna be an unconventional person and not actually give like star or number ratings, and I'm just gonna give a narrative rating.
I love it.
Okay, so I think, it's summertime. You got the kids, you got the in-laws coming in, and you hate everyone, and you just need something to distract people for a while. Go see the movie.
I think that's perfect, honestly. And that's honestly a perfect way to cap it off, I think.
Or if you're a completionist and you're like, I need to see everything Marvel make, then okay, yes, I guess this is another notch in the belt. But
that's
as far as
I would love if that was on the poster. Just another notch in the belt. It's kind of sad. There was a point at the beginning where I was even like, where Thor was like, just another Thor adventure, and I was like, oh no, why does he sound so sad?
You need to put that in the title of the review. Like, have it be like Movieboys, like Thor Love and Thunder review, and then in quotes, just another notch in the belt.